Hey guys, how are y'all today? I hope everybody's doing well. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me. Hopefully everybody's doing well. So, no questions came in. Hmm. Here's your chance. Otherwise, it's going to be a really short live today. There are a few new things in Artspira that I can share a little bit with you while I wait on questions to come in. All right, DJ, I'm waiting on your question here. Waiting with bated breath. So, hello, guys. Thanks for rolling in. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Yvonne. Hey, Joyce, Sue, and Susan. DJ, Sharon, good to see you again. And hello, Miss Caroline. I understand you're going to Alaska. Was it you that I saw doing that today? That's exciting. I'm envious. That is on my bucket list. Is Alaska. I just don't know that I mean, I really like to do the Alaskan cruise thing and then go on the train ride, but actually getting on a cruise does not sound like much fun to me. I'm not a good, oh, that was last year. I'm not a good cruiser. Okay, so that one's not a hard one to answer. You have to think opposite. Okay, so in PE design, when you go up in number, you go up in density. In BES, it's the opposite. When you go down in number, it increases the density. So that's how you know the difference. So let me kind of show you a little explanation here. So let me see. Let me share my screen here. NP design. So let's say I've got the basic shape. And if you ever want to go back to your defaults in PE design, it is very simple to go back to defaults. You simply touch the house next to that property and it takes you back to the defaults. I'm a millimeter kind of girl. So I usually work in metric when it comes to density, just simply because I have fewer numbers to remember. I can remember 5 a whole lot faster than I can remember. Let's see what 5 goes into. Rather than if I look at it in inches, it's 127. So 5 is easier for me to remember than 127. So that is one of the reasons that I use metric, is because there's fewer numbers to remember. But you can tell based on how many stitches it went to. So when I went up to 5, my stitch count went to 29,093. If I go back to the defaults of 4.5, my stitch count goes down to 26,827. So that's what happens here. Increase in number in P design increases the density. Same thing with all of the other values. Increase in number here increases your width. But in your BES program, so let's go to say BES silver, and let me come here and let's add a design, and we will add an accent design. And we'll just add this one right here. Now, I'm going to come in and just grab one of the column parts. So one of the fill areas, which would be a fill right here. And if you look over here in your properties, the density of that particular area right now is 0.5 millimeters. So let's look at our stitch count. Right now it's got 4,080. If I go down in my number here, let's say we go to 0.4 and apply. Notice how the stitches got closer together, but now we're at 4109. So what would equal 5 millimeters density in BES? That is a question that I don't have a good answer for. If I go to, let's see here, a default fill, 0.5 is probably going to be 0.4, would be about the same. If you go 0.45, let's try that, 0.45, and see what that's going to take it up to 5. Let's see here. If I go to 0.5 period. So that is 4,053. If I go to 0.45, let's see what happens, even though it bumps my number up. About the same. It was the same, wasn't it? No, so 0.45. So right now it's 4,053 at 0.5. And when I go to 0.45, which even though that number right there is bumped up, you'll notice 4109 would be it. So that's probably the equivalent is 0.45. Now, stitch length is going to be the same. The length is basically determined by metric, and the bigger the number, the longer the stitch. Same underlay 2 millimeters. That's your underlay. So if you decrease that number, then your stitches are going to get closer together. So that's a density. Density is the one that when you go down in number, it increases your stitches. The stitch length, however, is when you increase the number, it increases the length. So you just kind of got to get your head wrapped around that. Something you can do in BES that you can't do in PE design is change the inset percentage of where your underlay starts. So if I don't want it to be right at the edge, I can increase that number to where, let's see here. Let's take that to 1 and see what happens. See how my underlay shrunk? So if you don't want your underlay to go all the way to the edge, you can increase that number. Pull compensation, I always work in metric, and I usually use about 0.2 to 0.3, okay? That you never want to do whole numbers. You don't want to go to 1 point, because notice how my stitches now are way, way outside of that edge, as opposed to right up. I mean, they should extend just slightly beyond the outline stitch in the direction that the stitch is going. So see how that's going this direction, and they are extending. But if we go further up, let me pan up. If you go further up, they're pretty much right at the edge. The direction that the stitches are going is the direction that the stitches will expand. If there's something up here that's not that same direction, they won't expand that way, okay? There is no way to go to the default density in here. There's no quick home button for that. But let's see here if we do one-step auto digitizer, if we can figure out what their default is. We'll just hit next, and I'll turn off the whites. Okay, so if we look at this and we look at the red piece, default density is 0.4, okay? They should be similar, DJ. They should be similar. You know, every program has its unique ways. Some things are better than others, but the density should be similar. The default density in BES is 0.4. So 0.5 is a lighter stitch. It really depends on how much layering is going on there. Okay. 5 millimeters in density in BES would be 0.5. Yes, 0.5, I believe. Yes. No, wait a minute. 0.4. Go the opposite way. Got to go the opposite way. So if default density is 4.5, going up to 5 would take you up. So if you go down in number, that would be about 0.4. Okay. So you just kind of have to wrap your brain around that it's reversed. And if you stitch them out, you'll kind of get to an idea of which density you like in which program. So I suggest basically making a square in both programs and seeing which density you like, or a circle, either one. You know, which BES do you have? If you have BES blue, so pull one of the, I don't know which BES you have. So let's see here. Let's add a design. And let's say we just grab this piece right here. We can delete everything but this fill. So I'm going to get rid of everything but that little fill there. Okay. So now I could take that and let's go to our tools tab and do our edit shape tool. And we can get rid of these little pieces right here. Make ourselves a little oval. Right mouse click. So now I've got a little oval. I can come in and change my density to 0.4 and see what that looks like, whether I like it or not when I go to stitch it out. That's how I would do it. That's what I would determine it by. Basically, find a shape, duplicate it in different densities so we can copy that and paste it, and then change this one to 0.45. And then I'm going to just control and copy it and change that one to what this is 5. No, that's 4.45, and this would be 0.5. So we'll just change that and make it 5.5 just to make sure it's not getting that extra little thing. And that would give you an idea of what you want. Okay. It also is going to depend on what kind of underlay that you have. Okay. Personally, before going up in density, let me find my mouse here. Before going up in density, I would prefer to see you add underlay to something, because density can pucker, whereas underlay is just going to give you more of those stitches underneath it to where the covering stitches will cover it up. So instead of increasing my density, I might come in here and let's go look at this and zoom in on it. So right now it's got the perpendicular underlay. Let's say I add contour to that, or I add full lattice. That's adding stitches and adding density without actually adding density. That's going to be, everything's going to be underneath the stitches, but what that does is it allows it to get more coverage. So you won't actually have, you won't see as much fabric behind it as you would otherwise. That's what I would prefer to see you do rather than going up hugely in your density. In PEDESIGN, you do have some of those options, not quite as many, but this is contour with a zigzag. So let's look at both of these in stitch view. Let me also change the color so you can see through it. And let's zoom in on that. So right now, I call that one kind of everything but the kitchen sink. This one right here. This is your just one direction with a outline on it. Let me turn with a contoured edge. So you'll see how it's running inside that edge and then it's going straight across. So opposing angles. You can change those opposing angles to be dense. So you'll notice now those lines of stitching are closer together. You can also do the everything but the kitchen sink variety, which does it both directions. If you change that down to light instead, you'll notice how much less underlay you have there. That's really where, if you understand that your underlay is providing that support to your stitches, it also is providing coverage. So I would rather see you do that than go play in a ton with your density, because the tighter your stitches are packed together, the more you're trying to let's think of it as putting a whole bunch of stuff in a 5-pound bag. It's just gonna eventually bulge, and the same thing happens to your fabric. So some people will end up putting too much density in something, and when they take it out of their hoop, it's not that they stretched their fabric, it's not that they didn't support it well enough, it's that they put too many stitches simply into too small of a space. So keep that in mind. Lighter threads, now you may want more density. It depends on what thread weight you're using. If you're using a 60 weight thread, in a fill area, you may need more density because you're using a thinner thread as opposed to a 40 weight thread. So, but that gives you a better idea. And yes, it's the same concept as when doing text. When you're doing underlay for satin stitches or text, I'd much rather you have more underlay than have more density. Okay. All right, guys. Next question. Oh, you're in Nashville this week, Cindy. Good. You're here a good week. It's a lovely week this week. Let's see here. Any other questions? Hey, Trudy. So it's a beautiful day here as well. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Lord have mercy, I never watched that show when I was growing up, but it just came to pop in my mind. So maybe y'all can help me. Things that have popped into my mind. So those of you that are around my age, we all have this lovely mark on our shoulders, right? Which shot was that? Was that polio? Was that the measles? Was that rubella? What one was that? I'm trying to remember, and I haven't Googled it. I guess I could Google it and figure it out, but it was one of those. But the whole measles epidemic thing has got it in. It has had me thinking about that. All right, so let me show you a few things that have been added. Smallpox. Aha. I just couldn't remember which one it was. So I have no idea. I just know we've all got that lovely mark on our arms. And I couldn't remember. Somebody was telling me that the polio vaccine, we did the sugar cube. I just don't remember which vaccine that one was. I just remember it was a disease that was eradicated, and we all got dosed for it that one year. Let's see if I can share my screen here. And we'll talk a bit about Artspira, if it's going to let me. Okay, it says it's going to let me, and I'm going to allow it. Okay, there we go. Now, settings. Hold on a sec. Let's turn off the frame. I don't like it when it shows the frame. I wish I could make that be the default, that it doesn't show the frame. Okay, guys. So let me minimize these things. Some new things. One of the main new things that will make your life easier is, why is that doing that? There we go. Okay. Let's touch embroidery and let's go to design editor. And I want to show you what you have now. If we scroll all the way down here, you'll notice you have a grid that you can now turn on. This will help you align things. It can go down to 1/8 of an inch and up to, I believe, 1 inch. Okay. So that's new. So if we say done, it shows your grid. That will help you in aligning things. So just when you go to add and you pick something, I'm just going to pick an artist design, don't really care. But if you're trying to align things now, let's say we wanted to duplicate that one. Let's go into layout. Well, it will not let me duplicate. Darn it. It's going to make me hunt for that again. I thought they had added that to here, but they've done it for printing, but not for here. So there we go. But now you can see that you have the capability of putting those right on that grid line, which makes life a whole lot easier than trying to eyeball it. That is available in, it was always available in cutting. So we always had the grid available in cutting, but we didn't have the same spacing. So here you can go up to 2 inches in 1/4 inch increments. That is a change. So you can do 1/4 inch increments up to 2 inches on the cutting mat. If we get out of there and we go to printing, same thing is available. Design editor, scroll down and show grid. We can go down to 0.25 and up to 2 inches. And you can tap in there and you could type in your 1 inch if you want. But that's going to make it a whole lot easier to align things. So I thought you guys would want to know about that one. That's one of the new things that got released last week. What else came in? Oh, let's cancel that. And oh, templates came in. Templates are for sublimation, and they are supposed to be sized to fit specific items. So like this is a 20-ounce tumbler. If I touch create, that the space in here is sized to fit the tumbler. You still are going to have to put whatever elements you want in there. They changed some things. So if I come in and I say, all right, I'm going to put this flower in, and let's duplicate that. Let's put 3 of those on there. And then we'll add a basic shape. Let me tap off. Maybe. Let's add a basic shape. Printing data, basic shapes. So let's say we want to add a picture inside this diamond here. I'm going to tap it. I'm going to touch fill. And then I'm going to go to images. And let's say I want to put Princess's picture inside there. And that's how that's done. Or I want this little girl's face inside there. If you don't like the shape that you picked, you can always pick something else. There we go. I like that one better. But usually it will fill, it fills the area. And then you could put your name on it. You can also add a fill to the background. So if you want a different color or you want gradation, this gives you a full wrap if you wanted to go with something like that. I kind of like that one. The reason I like that one is because it doesn't have, it's not going to show that seam. So also, when you're on color, touch line and turn that to no color because that line will print. Otherwise, now I know, now I don't have a print. Okay. So that is one of those things that's kind of fun to do. That's kind of fun to play with. And they have the different templates that you can choose from. And if you look, it'll show you that it's meant to be a full wrap. This right here means it's meant to go fully around it. If you touch the ceramic coaster and slide to the right, it's showing you that it will do 4 coasters for 1. And that's a 3.5-inch ceramic coaster. So it's telling you what the dimensions of what you're doing is. And this is an 11-ounce mug. If we slide, it's showing you it's going to wrap around, but it's not going to touch the handles. So that would be, those are the little different things that you can do. As always, your Artspira magazines pop out on Thursday. They populate on Thursday. This is what the projects are. These are the new cutting, printing, and sublimation designs, and these are the new projects of the week. That looks like a cutting project right there. So if you're in the mood for an Easter card, there you go. That one's actually kind of cute. So, and it shows you how to use your pen tool. You also have new embroidery designs, and it's going to show you the new designs for spring up at the top. And that's not just embroidery. These are all designs, all new designs that they've populated recently. So like this is a cutting design here, as is that one. Those Sansky eggs are kind of cute. I scroll my wheel as thinking it's kind of that it's going to work on the screen. It's not. Okay. Now, all right, I think that's all that's new for this week. Always check back. There's always something new happening in Artspira world. So last week it came out templates. So those other ones that were there before that they called templates before are now under sublimation, and they are quick layouts. So these these have substitutable designs on them. They are not specifically sized for a specific project. They kind of are, but they aren't. But each of these, you can change the element to something else. Let me go to, so if you didn't like that other one, you can go and change it to something else. You could also add your own element in if you want to. So if you tap off, actually, no, it's not going to let me add another element. So that is the element. I can come and touch that, and I can edit my text. I can change it to a different font. I can also fill in my background. So the same way as I could in the other one, I can fill in my background if I want to. It's showing you what the size is up here at the top, but you also you can adjust that and create your own custom size if you need to. All right, I'm going to discard that, and I'm going to come back and answer questions here. So, oh, so they're saying it's a smallpox. All right. I honestly don't know. I truly don't know, Yvonne. They just, it's based on whether you get the subscription version or not. So I truly don't know. You've got, let's see here, you got a flower design. The vine is so small. Can you add another stitch over it? Yeah, you can, which program do you want to use? Give me that information first. Okay. And Trudy, I honestly don't know. You're going to have to ask somebody in Australia, that one, because I truly don't know. I just truly don't know. I'll sit here and tell you, if I could even access them on my machine, I would tell you. My update, I'm in a prototype machine, so my update killed my wireless. My machine traveled all over the country and has had many bumps and bruises. And I have no keypad when it comes to filling in stuff. So if I can't connect Artspira, I had Wi-Fi at one time, but I don't now. So I'm waiting on help. So I'm kind of dead in the water when it comes to Artspira land going there. I haven't seen the designs yet because I haven't been able to register with Artspira in order to get it to communicate with each other. There is no keypad to register the PIN code. So not sure, waiting on an answer from Japan on that one. Let's see here. Cindy, I don't know. Let me go to the Brothers Sports site and see what happens when I do it to mine. That's the only way I can test that theory out. So let's see here. Let me go to share my screen and let's find Safari. There it is. Okay, so we want to go home sewing machine and we want to search for XP series. XP3. Windows. That's fine. Doesn't really matter. I don't want software updates. I want manuals and operation manual. So let me download that one. Mine pops up. So I would try re-downloading. I'm going to save that to my files. So let's see here, save to files. And then let's back up and we'll go Operation Manual Embroidery, and I'll save it to my files because that's really what you're doing. So let me go there and we'll save that one to the files too. Okay, so let me go to Files. There's my manual. No, all my parts are there. So something, I would try re-downloading it. because it works for me. It's a PDF, I believe, so it should work. Let me close everything out and make sure we're still, yeah. It's there. I can zoom in. Okay. Other questions? So go back, Cindy, and try that again. Try download it, and again, you may just have gotten a bad download. But who knows? You're most welcome. Other questions for me today? If not, like I said, it's going to be a pretty light day because I am in between things. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. I have no idea how they're divided over there. Yeah, I honestly don't know. So then talk to you're going to have to talk to Brother New Zealand. Every country has their own division. So in the U.S., we're the home appliance division of the U.S. And that you'll hear us call ourselves HAD many times. It's home appliance division because these are home appliances. In Europe, they have their own division. Canada has their own division. Australia has theirs. New Zealand has theirs. Latin America has theirs. So everybody has something slightly different. And honestly, I don't know. I tend, I mean, her office supply company printed it for less than $70. So I figured I'd pop that up for you. I like having it on the iPad versus a printed manual, and I will tell you why. For me, if they update it, which this one was updated a lot, so printing it out every time they came out with an update was a pain. I like having it here because then I can go search. Let me share with you what I'm talking about. So let's go back in here and let's say I want to search for, let's come in here and I want to search for Move It, which would be dual feed. So when I go search for dual feed, it will come up and find the dual feed for me. And it highlights it for me. And then I can go to the next instance of it. And evidently it's right there. And it tells me what settings I can change. So I like the ability, and I do this on my machine all the time. I like the ability of being able to put in a search term and it going and finding it for me. That way I don't have to dig for it someplace else. And it will highlight every instance of dual feed for me. And tells me all about that. Same thing for embroidery. If there's something you're trying to figure out, let's say you wanted to do endpoint sewing. Let's come in here and let's do endpoint. Oh, where did that go? Endpoint. All right, so endpoint sewing. Endpoint it likes better. So we'll search for endpoint and go to the first instance of it right here. So endpoint setting is there. Go to the second instance of it. It's showing you what it's going to do, specifying the sewing endpoint. So if somebody asked a question about how to start and stop your stitches, endpoint is one of those great ways of being able to do it, specifying the endpoint. So let me go back into my search and go to the next instance of it. The endpoint sewing is pretty cool. But the other way to go back to your stitches is let's see if it's gonna, so this little icon right here, this one right here. Oh, I guess I need to show you on your screen. This icon right here, when you touch that and you touch this button right here, it takes you back to the beginning of your stitches. So anytime let's say you're in the middle of a decorative stitch and you changed your mind and you want to start again. If you touch this button here first and then you touch this button, it takes you back to the beginning of those stitches. So that is one that I use a lot, and I find that first on every machine that I've got. If I'm doing any kind of decorative stitch, I like to go back to the beginning of the stitch, and you'll find yourself doing that a lot. Yeah. Okay, I get it. I think you'll like it on your iPad. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can search for your terms, you can find what you want really quickly, and you don't have to go, especially if you travel with it, you don't have to go with a big old manual. So, I mean, this is me, the person that writes books and prints them out for you. But this changes so frequently that I like having it on my iPad. Okay, guys. Any other questions for me today? Yes, no, maybe? Well, if not, I'm going to leave you with a tip. I'm with you on that, Carol. I cannot lose it if it's on my machine. It is not hidden on my shelf anywhere. It is right there for me to use it. I'm going to do one last thing here today. I'm going to change my hoop size. And let's go back to a default hoop just because. And I'm going to, I know I've done this before, but I think I saw it pop up somewhere not long ago. So we're going to go to Design Library. And we are going to pick, Floral 3. Let's see. I think that's the one I want. Nope, Floral 2. I use this one because it's simple for me to do it, and it shows you why you might want to do it. All right. So here we have a design. Now, this is not one that I would resize just simply because I want you to look at the stitches. The stitches do not lend themselves to resizing, okay? But one of the cool things that you can do with this software is, let's say you need a butterfly, and this butterfly wasn't here, okay? This was the only butterfly there, and it's the only butterfly you could find. Now, we all know that that's not true, but if you need to take a part out of a design, is what I'm trying to get to, this is how you do it. You go to your Stitches tab, and you click that Split Stitches tool. And you simply left mouse click around the parts of the design that you want to keep. You don't have to double click at the end. You do not have to get real close. Look how, see, I got flower. I don't care. I'm not keeping the flower. I just want that butterfly. Now, if you'll go to zoom and selected object zoom, it will zoom you right in on that item. Let's look in our sewing order. What parts of this design are the butterfly? It's number 3, 4, and 5. Numbers 1 and 2, it's not, right? That's flower. So we're going to go to our select tool, our select point tool, and we're going to press the tab key one time. The first time it highlights the first segment in that sewing order. That would be the first part of the orange of the flower. Press delete on the keyboard. Touch tab that second time. That is the second part of the flower. Press delete on your keyboard. Then click off the design and hit your select tool. You are now left with a butterfly, okay, which you can do anything you want to with. You'll notice I imported it. I did not open it. If you open it and you accidentally hit save, then you will save over your original. So I always import if I'm planning on adjusting something or adding to something or playing with something. But that is one of the most used tools in my arsenal. The other thing that I'll share with you about this, yes, it works with any file, with any embroidery file type. It does not work with artwork files. But one of the other things that's nice about that, let's come in here and let's go to our miscellaneous category, and let's go grab these shoes and this hat. And I'm going to bring the shoes over on top of the hat, or the hat on top of the shoes. Okay. Now, what if I don't want my hat to stitch over that bulk of shoes. Well, this is another feature that's in this part, that's in version 11, that is nice. Now, I'm not going to worry about this where this running stitch is. That's not going to make any kind of difference. If I go to my stitches tab though, when I hit the split stitches tool, the item that I have selected, so let me get out of that and go back. You'll notice the highlighted item is what I want to get rid of. So I have selected the shoes, not the hat. I want to get rid of the part of the shoes. Now I'm going to go in, I'm going to zoom way in here. And I'm going to go to my stitches tab, hit that select tool again, and then hit the split stitches tool. Now I can see what I need to click around. So I'm going to come click close to that area and go around. What I like about this is that I have that ghosted image of the hat that gives me a reference. I used to have to touch the screen and kind of keep an eye on where I was going. I'm going to touch the delete key on the keyboard. And now if you look, if I take my hat away, that bulk is gone. So that's a quick little tip for you to be able to play with. The split stitches tool is super simple to use. Now, let's say I needed that ribbon instead. That ribbon is the only ribbon that will do it for me. All right. Well, how would I grab that? Stitches tab, divide by color. Now I can I clicked here, hit the select tool, and I can just pull that ribbon out. Okay. So that if you needed the ribbon or you just needed the hat, that's how you would do that. Somebody asked the other day about changing colors of a design. If I go in and try to change the color with the whole design selected, the whole thing's going to change. That's not how you want to do it. Go into your sewing order, select the piece that you want to change, and then change that color. Okay. So sometimes we get deep into the weeds of how to do other things that we forget about the little things that are easy to do in the software, and the reason you have software, it makes it easier. I mean, you've got a couple of clicks to get something done versus trying to skip all those stitches when you're in the machine itself and following along with it. Okay. All right, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your week. If you haven't noticed, just so y'all know, Facebook is now deleting my lives after 30 days. They are always on my YouTube channel. You can watch. I'm still going to continue to, I do have something else to share. Sorry. I'm still going to continue to broadcast to both places, but after 30 days, Facebook will go away, but YouTube will stay. Now, I do have something I want to share with you. There is a conference. Let's see if I can bring it up here. There we go. Let me share my screen. And I've been meaning to tell y'all this for a few weeks. I keep forgetting it. Sewingmachine.com is having an embroidery and more conference. I will be teaching at it. Jane Olson will be teaching at it. There's quite a bit stuff in there. It is not just for the person it's not just for the hobbyist, and it's not just for the professional. So these are lecture demo classes. They will have you'll get special pricing on other things. Their early bird special is good until April the 1st. So just keep that in mind. But these are their different things that they're going to do. You've got stabilizer, you've got creating on the go, you've got applique to save time and money, sublimation beyond the basics, how to make patches, sparkling applique party, customizing your embroidery, taking it to the edge. That is your edge to edge quilting, perfect positioning for embroidery, puffy foam applique, helpful hooping, and powderless DTF. So if you're looking for something to do and you're in the Atlanta area, or Atlanta's easy to fly into. So that is it's I think it should be a fun few days. You will see me in quite a few of the classes. I think I have 5 classes that I'm prepping for. I wrote the descriptions for 7, but I'm only doing 5 of them. So I will be teaching creating on the go. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'll tell you what I'm teaching. Creating on the go. I'm teaching a scan and cut intermediate to advanced class. Customizing your embroidery. Let's see here. Let me see. What else am I teaching? I got to go look. I'm teaching a lot. 5 classes. So here it is. Hold on. Creating on the go, customizing embroidery. I am cutting edge. I'm not doing perfect positioning. Show off your creative side. Those are my classes. So show off your creative side, cutting edge, customizing embroidery, and creating on the go. All right. The customizing embroidery is all about Brother Software, the different programs that we offer, why you might want one over the other, how it's helpful. Creating on the go is Artspira kind of based, why you might use it, why you might not, some ins and outs, some tips and tricks, and some a little bit of advanced stuff in there. Right. So, there's quite a bit that you'll get, quite a bit of information. I think y'all will enjoy it. It is at the Embassy Suites in Alpharetta, Georgia. It's on the flyer here. So here, let me zoom in. Right there. So, and I mean, there'll be a lot of demos in their store area, in their test drive area, if you want to call it, to where you can try things out before you buy and play along with some stuff like that. So I think y'all will have fun. It should be a good time. You should be able to meet some people and network. And it's kind of a step back towards getting back to our normal when it comes to doing events and stuff, which is that. I mean, it's a step in the right direction towards that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks, Trudy. I appreciate it. So you guys have a great rest of your day. But remember, their early bird special on that, the $149 price goes away April 1st. So don't forget. I totally forgot about it 2 weeks ago, but y'all know I wasn't feeling well. So you have to excuse me on that one. But yeah, and my brain just was not there. So I made myself remember. I opened it up so that I would remember to show it to you today. And they did send me the schedule. So it's 2 days of fun. I think you'll have a blast. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. And I will see you not next week. I'm working on my aunt's house. I'll see you the week after. Okay. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.